Hey everybody, welcome to the Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina, and I hope you're having a good day. We're still on Dish 3 in Season 3, and we're talking about The Hunted, episode 159, and there is a voice overview to this one. I don't know why I always make note of that. And before we get started, please hit the thumbs up. I need all the likes I can get, please. So Picard is down on the planet, and the planet has applied. They want to join the Federation. So while they're down on the planet, a supposed prisoner escapes, and the prisoner the Enterprise attempts to help in the capture of the prisoner. But the guy uses an asteroid. He's like, there's a full ship here. And when he passes behind the Enterprise, he comes out with a smaller ship here. And then he disappears and he hides on the poles. So when we get back to the Enterprise, Data's like explaining to Picard how they follow proper procedure, and he can't explain how the guy escaped. And the Prime Minister informs him that the prisoner's name is Rogar Danar, and they consider him violent. He's a very skilled pilot and escape artist. He pulls many tricks to avoid being captured. He hides behind the asteroid, and then he goes to the planet's poles and hides in the poles. And in the end, he is captured when he attempts once again to escape an escape pod. They beam him on board, and he has a weapon with him, and the security system fires at him, and he's completely unaffected. And he really puts up a fight. He knocks quite a few guys out until he's finally captured by Worf and Riker. So Narek informs the Enterprise that the damage he did during the escape is considerable, and they will need time to make the repairs before they can take the prisoner back. You know, whenever they have one of these type of episodes, my radar goes up, and there's always something wrong, that the bad guy's not really a bad guy. There's something there. So, and Narek says when we get the guy on board, he says to please keep the prisoner sedated. What's up with that? See, they don't want the Enterprise people learning the truth about him, and learning all the stuff. So Picard tells the guy that Raynar's in maximum security room. So Riker then asks Data about the ship's sensors, and Data says the reason we did not pick up the life signs on the escaped vessel is because the prisoner doesn't have any life signs. Riker asks the computer to identify the occupant in the detention cell, and the computer says there is no occupant, it's vacant. But they know he's there. Picard wonders if he's an android, and Data says no, our sensors can pick up androids, and the guy's not an android. So we next see Troi walking down the hallway. And she senses he's having nightmares, so she goes down to talk to him. And he tells her he was treated well in prison, and Deanna notices he's terrified of returning, and he says he just killed 3 people to get here. Of course he's terrified. He wants to know if she always talks to ship prisoners, or is he an interesting specimen who just landed on their ship. And he goes on. And she asks why he is angry at her, and he says he fell in love with a girl with long hair and she rejected him. And he proceeds to tell him a whole bunch of more lies. But Troi can tell that he's in a lot of pain. So Troi goes to talk to Picard. And she says he has a dual personality, sort of. He's aware of his crimes and they trouble him greatly. She says he's thoughtful and intelligent. Troi really tries to defend him and says his personality is nonviolent. And Picard turns around and goes, yeah, but it took 5 men to restrain him. And Troi says there's something unusual about the guy, and something that is not part of his criminal personality. Picard says he's going to turn him over to the Angosians. He's not happy doing it, but he's going to do it because he doesn't have a choice. Troy goes to Data and asks if the computer has access to the Angosians stuff, and Data says yes. Troy asks him to see if there's a police record. There is no police record. See what I tell you? These episodes always try to right a wrong to do a good deed, right? So they investigate and find he's a military prisoner. He served in the war and was promoted up to the ranks. And Troy goes back to him to find out what's up. He says he volunteered to join the army, and in doing so, he gave up his life. Troy meets with Picard, Dr. Crusher, Riker, and Data. She explains that he was programmed to be the perfect soldier. He has been thoroughly, intensely psychologically manipulated, and Dr. Crusher says that his chemistry has also been manipulated. His own government did this to him. He's been conditioned to be the perfect soldier. Captain America, anybody? Didn't they do drugs to him? Data goes to talk to Danar. Does Data feel a little camaraderie because they've been both programmed? I don't know. Data wonders if since Data's program can be altered, can Dana's program be altering? And Rhaegar doesn't think so. It's part of who he is. It's become woven in him. Dana says the Agnosian doctors did this to him. Dana says if they could do it, can they undo it? Data says he cannot answer that. Picard talks to Rhaegar. He confirms some of what he's saying, but also denies it too. Nayroke says the soldiers were resettled in the settlement, but a few proved to be violent, so they added security. Picard tells him the medical team says there may be an alternative treatment. The Prime Minister says it's been explored already, and he's sending the ship to pick up the prisoner. Picard says it's in a matter of internal security in the old cry of the oppressor. Picard tells Dana that he has no choice, but he has to give him up. And Dana says there is no place for him in a civilized society. Picard says he respects the judgment of his officers and wishes he could help him further, but the Prime Directive, of course, says he can't. And Dana tells him that he will use any means possible to escape. He then tells Troy he would rather die than return to Lunar 5. When the transport ship arrives, they arrange to transport to bring the prisoner over. Picard asks Worf if the security measures have been taken. Worf says yes, and that the force field will only be down a second. It'll only be a second between the force field coming down and the prisoner being beamed down. And Riker says there's no way he can move that fast. And they also have security present. And Worf and Troy go down, and the guy's like fighting. How is he not getting hurt doing this? I don't know. So Troy yells, "Don't, you'll be killed." And when the cameras turn away, so the guy gets out. You don't see him leaving, but obviously he gets out. And then when the cameras come back, the space is empty. O'Brien is trying to figure out what happened. And it's nice to see Colm Meaney again in the episode. Next we are back on the bridge, and they are calling off security, shutting everything down, clearing all the hallways. They don't want him to take hostages. Riker tells Data to turn the turbo lifts on so they can track where he goes. So Data turns the turbo lift down. Dana takes the turbo lift, and Worf goes to meet it. In the meantime, Dana sets the phaser to go off to overload. But when Worf gets there, he is able to disable the phaser, turn it off. So he heads down to engineering and attempts to override their systems. Data tries to undo each thing as Dana does it, but Dana does it faster. So, I have a pet peeve here. Just a second. So then Dana achieves his goal of restoring power to Shuttle Bay 2. It would be interesting to ask, how does Danar know he has never, ever, ever, ever been off the planet, right? This is their very, very, very first encounter with the Federation, right? How does he know so much? How does he know where to go? How does he know which panel to go? How does he know which button to push? How does he know what door to open? Huh? Explain this to me. You know, you can go with the flow only so many times, but he does it over and over and over and over and over again. You got to start. How did the writers expect you to believe all this? He restores power to Shuttle Bay 2. Data shells it off. Worf tells Geordi there's security at all shuttle bays. Geordi says to double it, and they don't know how Dana can move that fast. And back on the bridge, Data says that Dana is leaving false clues and he's not really heading for Shuttle Bay 2. And Picard said his real destination remains a mystery. Well, duh. And they show Dana leaving another phaser in the tubes, and Data shows Dana is in the cargo bays. Again, how does he know which door, which ladder, which level? How does he know? He's never been off his planet before. He's never had interaction with the Federation before. How does he know? Data has him. Picard has Data flood the bay with this knockout gas. Dana sees it, and he knows. He knows. He goes directly over to the correct panel to get a suit to protect him. Excuse me, if he's never, ever been on the Enterprise before, how does he know where to find this stuff? Please explain. He just happens to know. Data returns the environment to normal. The security team enters the room, and Worf sees that the room is empty and that a pressure suit is missing. And Riker says he could be tried to be entering Shuttle Bay 2 from the outside. Good grief. Again, how does he even know how to do this stuff? How does he know where to go? Excuse me, how? So Worf is like, he tells security to go to the airlocks, and Worf says he will go to the torpedo launches, and he's like, dun, 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 dun. And then they cut away, and they show Dana hiding behind some of the containers. So Worf confronts him. They have a little tiff. The phaser goes off in the Jeffrey tubes. Dana attacks Worf. The explosion kills their internal sensors. Dana overtakes Worf, a Klingon. He overtakes a Klingon. And then he beams himself over to the ship. What the F, right? So when we turn back, Worf is underneath some stuff. And again, how did Dana know how to use the transporter? Excuse me, he's never been on the Enterprise before. This is my big beef through the whole episode, is how did he know what to do? And how did he know that the phaser could be used to power the transport? Explain this to me. Are they really expecting us to buy this? I mean, there's they could have you buy a couple of things, but this is a continual thing. They're having you believe that he knows how to do all this stuff on the Enterprise when he's never ever been there before, and the planet has never had an interaction with the Federation before. So how does he know how to do it? So he kills the external sensors. Picard says we have no way to track him. Riker says that was his plan all along. Riker now makes a log saying they are continuing to repair the ship's sensors. When Geordi then says the stuff is back online, and Picard tells Worf to do a sweep of the area. Then the Prime Minister calls him and says that Dana has attacked the penal colony using their own police shuttle, and several of the people have been wounded. And several prisoners escaped with Dana and are heading towards the capital city, intending to riot. The Prime Minister says they are not suited to handle the situation. Excuse me, that's why they created men like this. You created these people. This is your own fault. You did this. Picard says he will send down an away team. Then Picard goes with Picard goes with Troy, Data, and Worf. The Prime Minister is upset that it's only the four of them. Picard says, "We are not here to fight your wars for you." In fact, the Prime Directive says, "No, we don't get involved in internal stuff. We just..." The Prime Minister says they are moving towards the center of the city. The Prime Minister says These people are scared and they are dangerous. Prime Minister says no. Picard says no. You are the dangerous one. They are the only victims here because you made them this way. You asked them to defend you and then you discarded them. They were not happy here. Troy says they were not welcome here. It was the will of the people to settle them there. No one was pleased with the solution, but they had to act for the greater good. You know, what's with the money? Even on a foreign planet, the people like, is it cheaper to do this or cheaper to do that? Oh, it's just cheaper to get rid of them? Well, then we'll do that instead of the. These people need a heart. They really do. Data says if you have the skills to create a master soldier, can you not counteract the effect? The Prime Minister says the chemicals can be removed from their system, but we are not convinced that this psychological conditioning can be reversed. Data says, have you tried? The Prime Minister says they studied it. Big whoop. Do you know how many millions and millions and millions of dollars are spent on studying a problem? I want that job. I want that job to study something. Give me $20 million to study something, hypothetically. I'm seriously, I could use the money. My cat needs to go to bed. So the Prime Minister says they studied it even before the training began. We knew there would be problems reversing it. Did you tell the soldiers this? You didn't. Shame on you. Worf asked if they revealed this to the men who volunteered for the service. The Prime Minister says we were helping them to survive. They needed those skills. Denial here. Picard says they are your brothers, your sons, and you turned your backs on them. Troy says there are methods of treatment. Until you try them, how do you know they won't work? Even a partial recovery is better than none. The guy says it was the will of the people. Troy says to allow them to suffer. Prime Minister says there was a referendum. The people weighed the cost. Again, money here. What is it with the almighty dollar? And this is in our planet. How do we know what their currency is or what their financial situation is? What's up with that? Like I said, they would rather get rid of those people than help them. Have we always been that such cruel of a society that if someone is sick, we get rid of them instead of trying to help them? Are we like that? Are we really like that here? I mean, I know some of the olden days things, they had all those mental hospitals and they did all this stuff. It's just depressing to just even think that people would, because you have a problem, people ignore you. That's not right. You need to help people. But a lot of people feel better off ignoring the situations. They feel if they ignore it, it'll go away. I don't know what's up with that. Another guy says, we may need them to use again someday. Really? You don't want to change your conditioning because you might need them again someday? What's up with that? And these guys are so young. Picard asks if they understand what they are saying, and the soldiers moving. Picard tells everyone not to respond, not to provoke them any further, and to keep your weapons down. The Prime Minister agrees. Dana says, no, destroy us, do what you have to do. You will not ignore us. He says to simply exist is not enough, and Dana calls them cowards. And Picard says, you are not programmed to murder cowards. If they will not fight back, what will you do? They want their lives back. They want to come home. And the Prime Minister's like, I'm not prepared to negotiate you, but if you're willing to return to Lunar 5, we will try. And Dana says, no, you're going to push us away again. You need to talk to us. The Prime Minister asks Picard for help. Picard says, calls the Enterprise and says, beam us back up. And the Prime Minister is upset that Picard is leaving. And Picard's like, I have all the information I need for my report. Your prisoner has been returned to you, and you have a decision to make, whether to try and force them back or welcome them home. in your own words, this is not our affair. We cannot interfere with the natural course of your society's development. I say it's going to develop significantly in the next few minutes. And they leave. Back on the Enterprise, Picard says to Riker, please note in our report that if the government survives the night, we will help them. And then, out of nowhere, it's a miracle. Wesley Crusher appears. Where has the poor boy been the whole episode? Didn't see him. So, that's our episode. And please hit the like and just thumbs up button for me. Help me achieve my little old goal of actually getting somewhere. Over 100 and something videos and I haven't gotten anywhere yet. So please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you.